And welcome back to Thoughts the Roundtable with me, Matt Rebar.
And me, Paul Laux.
Paul, do you want to take a guess when our last recording was?
August 12th.
Oh, August 6th. Someone's been listening to the podcast recently.
Well, it is mine.
Yeah.
Like,
You know.
I'll tell you, if there's anything, we're consistently inconsistent. So,
Yeah. So what's been going on since August 6th, my friend?
so you remember when I was on radio, I used to go by the name Chops.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
had a Facebook page for that, and it kind of it resurfaced again on notifications. Like, hey, remember when you used to have fun in life and do this stuff? And so I think I'm going to revive that and maybe go by Chops again, and start posting on there again, so I can have my 3 followers actually hear something from me.
This is like the 5th reincarnation of Chops. Like, you're like Britney Spears. This is like your 15th comeback.
Well, you can never kill a bad bitch. So
okay, that I mean, period. Because I love how like no one's on Facebook anymore. So I like how Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, they're like, okay, we got to bring people back on Facebook. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna remind people of what they used to do on Facebook and hope that they like do it again. Like you spend all this time bringing back the Chops Facebook page,
hmm I honestly sometimes I wonder, like, do they purposely try to make us sad? Um, because this happened to me the other day. You have an Apple iPhone, right?
Yes.
Okay. So does it ever happen to you where you be just chilling and you get a notification where it takes like a collection of your old photos and puts up like the saddest music you've ever heard? And you're like, why did I just have to be depressed? Like I was having a good day. And then Apple like
Yes.
sensed it. It's like, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna make your day horrible and just totally upend it.
The worst too is when you see pictures of people that you've had like falling outs with, or you don't talk anymore, like in a bad way, and you're like, oh, we used to be friends, and now we don't speak anymore, and it's like, oh,
How be honest with me.
yeah.
How much of a Facebook user are you still?
Okay,
Because
so are
it's a
you?
two-part. First of all, this is a two-pronged question. This is only part A.
So can I be honest? So Meta, which is
No,
Facebook
lie
and
to me,
Instagram,
please.
I just like to lie to a bad bitch. So Meta, Facebook, Instagram, they're now paying me for content. So in the last 2 weeks, I've used Facebook in like the last 2 weeks as much as I probably used it like the whole year before because I'm
Where's my
constantly
cut?
posting. None of them have you in it, but if I will, because it's my personal feed got monetized.
Wait,
If I can get
how did your personal feed get monetized? I've never heard that.
so I've been uploading some of the reels. Like I was casually uploading some reels. One of them got like 300,000 hits. And it was like slowly after, like right after that happened, Facebook was like, hey, you can get a bonus. And what's weird though, is it says I have until November like 4th to make as much money as I can. And so like, I don't know, does that mean like going forward after November 4th, like they're not going to pay me money? And if that's true, then like, I'm not going to post anything until they once again go, hey, it's bonus season. You can make money. Like I'm spending a lot of effort. And to be fair, Paul, I've only made like $5 in 2 weeks. It's not like I'm making like, it's like not even enough for a venti Starbucks. But yeah, so it's been interesting. But
What was your reel that got 300,000 views?
so the ones that have been doing really well in TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, it's the do not play wedding playlist. So people are really fascinated by those. And so like the ones on TikTok, man, like I have one that has like 5 million views. I think 2 or 3 have like 3 million. Another 5 have like 1 million. Like they've been racking up. And I think it's because people are like psychologically interested in understanding like, okay, why do they not want that music? Why do they want this music? Like it's almost like and it's also like a discussion on music. So it's been fun. I mean, it's not like my favorite content I've ever made because it's like really simple. I'm just taking like my job and taking a picture of my job and like posting it. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
but
That's
hey, I
still, can
mean,
you imagine getting 5 million people into a room, be like, these people all listen to my one video?
I know. I mean, it is kind of
How much
crazy.
did you
Like,
get from that? What is their payout for that?
okay, I'll tell you how much I made on TikTok, but I don't want to. If anyone who's listening, no, you can't like call me up and ask for a loan. I've been monetized on TikTok since August, and I just cleared $500.
Wow.
Yeah,
For That's not much at all for that level, I would feel. My
Really?
shock by that could
I felt like I was expecting when TikTok said, "Hey, we'll pay you." I was like, "Oh, it'll be like $1 a week or like $2 here and there, like Starbucks money." This is like small vacation money. This is like $500 is like I could go to Michigan and rent a cabin for a weekend money. That's like like two
what
Costco trips money.
what if it was like, okay, thank you, we've paid you this money, but now you have to move to Beijing.
Listen, if someone wanted to pay me a lot of money, I would consider living in Beijing for a year. It's not on my to-do list, but hey, if you say, "Hey, Matt, I'll pay you 200 grand to be an artist for a year in Beijing," I would do that. Who wouldn't do that?
Me. So moving on. No, I
You
feel
have
like I've been,
responsibilities. You have kids.
yeah, yeah, I got things tying me down. I can't just, gallivant away, like bad bitch Matt over here. But
Oh
what
my
was I gonna
God.
say? I feel what's really frustrating is
Mm.
I feel like I've been on social media, I feel, forever. Like I was one of the first people to get on Facebook way back when,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
Instagram I was a little bit slower on. Um,
Mhm.
but I've never cracked the code because I put a lot of my stuff on there, like my
Mhm.
photography, and I put audio on there, and I've never cracked the code. I've never got like anything like viral, or and I don't know if that's just an effort thing or if that's just a luck thing. I don't know. I really don't know.
I was interviewed by a student recently, and the student asked, they were doing like they wanted to talk to a professional, and I guess I'm a professional, which I was like, that seems wrong. And they were asking, like, well, they were like, well, you're successful. Like, what's it like? How do you feel like being successful? And I was like, well, let's throw that back because I was like, I don't feel necessarily successful. Like, I don't go up and around and go, I'm successful. Look at here. Come here to the town square. Let me tell you about my success. And I said, to me, like I'm excited when things do well, but like I always position myself where I'm doing things that I want to do. So like that to me is success is being able to, work, create, play, be with friends, people that that matter to me. Like that is what I think success is. And it's not like a monetary thing. It's not a amount of people thing. It's not an influence thing. It's just like wow, I get to wake up and create content. I get to wake up and write. I get to wake up and make D-list pop music. So for
Mhm.
me, when I get asked that question of success, like it's just like, dude, like I don't even care in a good way. Like I just want to be able to do, what I want to do. I want to wake up and I get to do that. And like that is like to me what makes me happy. And like, oh my God, my whole desk just but I guess I'm just so successful that I'm just the whole desk is falling apart. So um
I just I just don't understand why I have been able to break it. I want to just break it once in my life. That's my goal.
well there is that famous quote, Paul, like everyone gets their 15 minutes. So maybe you
Andy
haven't had
Warhol,
your
right?
15 yet. Yeah, you haven't had your 15 yet. So one of these days you're gonna have your 15. I think
What
if
was it?
anything, I've probably had too much of my 15. I think
What 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 was that Daniel Tosh joke where he was talking about that? And he goes, "Well, people understand." He goes, "That's an average." And then he turned to the crowd and goes, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then he points to himself, goes, 20 years, and then zero, 0.
oh my God.
But no, and the thing that sucks about it is I feel like video content is really kind of the landscape now. And which makes sense. And I just don't do enough of that. I really don't. I really should,
Yeah.
but my medium is photography. So it kind of
Mhm.
sucks that like that's my mode of choice because I'm really not the best
See,
videographer.
here's the thing though. I mean, you gotta like understand, like if you want to do photography, do photography. I
Hmm.
think, this idea of chasing what people want or what people expect or what quote works viral. Like, I mean, I think that's like only part of the equation. And if that's like the main motivation, like, are you gonna do what you want to do? Like, would you be happy, getting even double the amount of views that you get on your photos by doing videos that you don't really want to be doing? Is it worth it? And I personally, it wouldn't be worth it to me.
Hmm.
If someone came to me and said, do this type of content that, or do this type of art medium, like drawing. I'm like an okay cartoonist at best, but like drawing, I hate. But if I drew something and for God's, and someone goes, oh, I'll pay $300 for that. Like, would I like doing it? Oh, I like how you're just yawning. You don't even care about this metaphor, Paul. You're like,
I don't give a crap about it.
but I don't know. I think it's just the important thing is like you have to like what you do, and then of
That's the
course maybe eventually you'll get more traction with it. But
See, that's the thing, and social media is fantastic. Really, like I know there's tons of people who think like it's the bane of the world. That's gonna, look at you sipping tea over here, not listening. You
it's
bad at me about
orange
yawning.
juice.
You know,
Okay, me
you're
sipping orange juice
you
means
know
like
you're
I'm listening. You yawning means you're
you,
bored.
you're like seductively sipping on a teacup over there, but
First of all, this is a giant ass mug. This is not a teacup. I can't. I mean, like, look at. I mean, that's a big mug.
uh,
Okay, continue.
but anyways, so well, now I lost my train of thought. But social media is great, and
Mhm.
at least too, because you can get so much out there. But I feel like, and I've talked to people who are the same way, like some graphic designers
Mhm.
or other photographers or things like that. And it's almost like you now spend 60, 70, 75% of your time not doing the artistic stuff that you want to get out there. You're like
Mhm.
focusing it on trying to get it out on the mediums itself. So it's almost like the majority of your work is not even the work you like
Mhm.
doing. And
Yeah.
it feels like it didn't used to be that way. It feels like that was a very, very sudden thing.
Mhm.
And I feel like TikTok really pushed that over the edge, to be honest.
Mhm.
I feel like that's what really drove that. Do you agree, or what do you think?
Um. Well, I just think we live in a society, right, that it values work and it values money. And so we see more and more companies, they're not filling out all the jobs they used to have. So you have more people doing more work, and then they're being told to do things that are outside of their original purview. Like I don't know, like I'm kind of making up an example, but like let's say you have a company in the 80s or 90s that had, this giant communications department, and it slowly kind of gets downsized to where now, instead of just hiring a graphic designer, a copywriter, you have people filling like two or three roles. Even my full-time job, and I'm loving my new full-time job, I really am. I am in a way doing like three different roles in one
Oh, me
position,
too.
and it's one
Me
of those
too.
things where I think in the past that might have been two, three different positions altogether, and it's kind of like we're kind of crunching and crunching and crunching. And and I think that's a little dangerous for, a few reasons, right? But, it does make you, I wanted to be a graphic designer, but now I'm doing graphics and I'm doing this and this and this. It does make some people, I think, fall into those traps where their company then expects things like that wasn't originally what they, signed a contract for.
Right. And I do social media too in my job for a living, and it's the just that alone is a huge, huge job. And I don't know. It's wild to see from what it was back in 2008,
Mhm.
2009 to now. And there's good things about it and there's bad things about it. And it's almost like depending on the day and how you feel is what's leading. But it's almost just sad in a way. Like I love it, but it's sad in a way to see so many people trying to push their way to the next level. Like
Mhm.
it's like fighting for scraps almost, it feels like at times, you know?
Mhm.
But it's still a very interesting medium, and I'm glad it's there because it's really easy to get your own stuff out.
Mhm.
But I just wish it was a little bit more genuine. I feel like the companies now themselves focus way too much on pushing the content they want out
Mhm.
there. And this isn't me like of a free speech thing. Obviously, I feel like there should be some sort of content control. I do.
Mhm.
But I feel like that's different than the news feeds you get and the sponsored content and trying to beat the algorithm.
Mhm.
And that is tiring. And
Yeah.
it's weird that I see so many great things out there, like people I'll
Mhm.
find,
Mhm.
and they get no traction.
Mhm.
And then you'll see the most random stuff
Mhm.
get 20, 30, 40 million views, and
Mhm.
it's confusing. But
I mean, I talked with a student about this the other day, and I think a lot of content that does really well, I mean, it's just simple and it's easy and it evokes a quick
Mhm,
emotion, whether that's, oh, that's so stupid, that's so funny, that's so sad, right? It's something that's really kind of quick and, tapping into that. And that's why it does succeed. I don't think there's any content out there that I see and I go, I'm confused why that's necessarily succeeding. I can easily
mhm,
see why things that I think are stupid or, unfunny, etc. I can see why they're doing well. And then two, I mean, you have a lot of these creators, right, who have built these fan bases and who are now resting on laurels. They're putting out really bad content, but they have so many millions of likes and follows or whatever that even their
you almost
bad
can't lose.
content is doing okay. That could they be doing better? Yeah, if they tried or if they really cared, but they're just they're sitting around collecting the paycheck, right? I mean, shoot, if I was in a position where by doing the bare minimum, I'm still getting paid 150, 250 bucks a day off of my streams, off of my what have you. I mean, that's
Mhm.
not a bad
I
life, that's
I
I mean,
I was watching this really interesting interview with Bill Burnham,
mhm,
and he was going over what he called the death of YouTube.
mhm,
And you know how we got to start, right? He started making videos in his childhood bedroom
mhm,
about just where he would sing about random stuff.
mhm.
And he had a point because he goes, YouTube is what got me famous. He said, this is what he said. He goes, YouTube has got me to where I am. It's got me famous, people finding those videos that I did.
Mhm.
And he's like, it's very disheartening that he goes, YouTube isn't that way anymore. He goes, those videos aren't the things that aren't going to be viral anymore.
Yeah.
Like random, you know, because we all know the first couple of videos we saw on YouTube, especially the ones that went huge.
Mhm.
And he had a point. He goes, those aren't going to be the viral things anymore. It's going to be clips from celebrities or
Yeah.
influencers. And he goes, it's kind of sad
Mhm.
that those random moments are no longer, they're still there, but you'll never find
Yeah.
it again.
I
And
am Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
no, and just kind of to see the medium in its way, kind of, obviously it's huge and it is
Mhm.
great, but
Mhm.
it's died off from what it
Yeah.
used to be. And that is, and it's growing pains, and I
Yeah.
get that. Um, but it is interesting at the same time.
I'm curious, like even 10 years from now, what digital media, what social media, what that entertainment experience, what the content experience, what that's going to look like. Because even in our lifetimes, in when we were in college, let alone high school, let alone even eighth, fifth grade, I mean, we've seen like the death of the paparazzi. Celebrities don't need paparazzi anymore. They can post whatever they want to cultivate their image. We have,
Mhm,
like you said too, this rise of kind of this, almost falseness of I'm going to present myself on social media as a certain way, and behind the scenes that's not who I am. And like you said too, I mean, we have people who are doing legitimately amazing, this is great content that doesn't get traction, doesn't get views, it doesn't get any likes, but that still doesn't deny that it's great. It's kind of like if a
mhm.
tree falls, does it make a sound? Yeah, just because I wasn't there to hear the sound doesn't mean the sound didn't exist. So I will be interested to see, what apps continue to do well, what goes by the wayside, what new social media will come along and change the landscape. How many social media apps have we probably looked into? It's going to be the next big
Mhm.
thing, and it wasn't.
I
And
I
even
I actually I
TikTok, I didn't think TikTok was going to last. I was like, oh, it's just a fad, right?
I actually have a question for you because I've been asked this, or told this rather, a bunch of times by bunch of different people, and I have an opinion on it. I can assume you know what mine is, but I'm curious what yours is. It's people who say they are convinced 100% that social media as a whole will die and go away.
No.
And my thoughts on it, like, absolutely not. It is way too ingrained in our blood, in
Yeah.
our brains, in our minds, and it has touched this psychological pin in
Mhm.
our head that we will never ever, it'll go away. By the time we're 56 years old, the apps and that we're talking about now on social media, I have a feeling won't be here anymore. But there will be something there.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I do not think social media, we're never going to become this like enlightened society. It goes, we don't need social media. We're always going to have
Never.
something. Is that going to
It's
be
like
Facebook?
a
Is it going to be
drug.
TikTok? Is it going to be Instagram? Like, no, maybe not. Maybe it's something new, but I think we're way too, it's way, like you said, it's too ingrained. It's too normalized. I mean, how many times do we like look at a phone during the day? I'm so guilty. You know what I hate, Paul? I hate when my phone tells me how many hours I've been on the phone or whatever. I get horrified. It's horrifying. And the
I
fact
turn
that
that
every
off.
week it goes up. It's like your phone usage went up. And I'm like, no, it's already too high. So I don't know.
What is
I
it
think,
at? I'm curious.
oh dude, it's probably like 7 hours a day.
Well, you use it for work, so I'll give you a break.
Yeah. And like to be fair, like, okay, so if I'm listening to a podcast or music, does that count? Like, because my phone's being active, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe.
But no, social media will always be around. And I guess I took this in a much more negative route than I thought it was going to be, but it's more of just like I wish it was just a little bit more in the hands of the users than the companies themselves, if that makes sense.
But
That's
like
my
we're in a
only.
capitalist society. I mean, these companies like they
I
benefit
get
by it
it.
being in their hands, right? Like the
Well, I get it.
idea of letting the user construct the space, that there's no money in that. Because then like wouldn't that mean
But you
that the
understand
consumer
why
makes the
I'm
money for the
disappointed with that.
Yeah, I can see that. I think what you're saying is that we should create our own social media experience.
um, oh God, can you imagine if we had our own
Thoughts app.
social media? Oh my thoughts app. We can call it the FAP.
Oh my god, the FAP. Jesus Christ, it sounds like fapping. Oh my god.
Why would you say it out loud? That was meant to be more of a pun.
Oh, I just didn't think you thought
Look,
that
it's
through. I don't.
Matt. This is a child podcast. This
This
is
is not a
family
child. Listen, if you
friendly.
no, pull that car over.
Family
If you have a
friendly.
child in your car right now, I don't care if that child is saying goo goo gaga or is on TikTok on a phone. You turn this podcast off. We are not child friendly around here. We are 18 and over. I don't care if you're in Italy and you'd say, oh, Monsieur, legal age in Italy is 16. Okay, that was French. I don't care. 18 and
Yeah,
over.
what
This
was that?
I was trying to do Italian, but that was like, oh,
Man,
ratatouille.
you are on it tonight.
Our French
Speaking of social
listeners,
media,
our French listeners are going to be so upset with me.
do we even have French listeners?
Well, if we did, they're
Do we even
gone.
have US listeners at this point?
Actually, all our listeners are from Mars. Clearly. Oh my god.
No, but did you see Kanye West bought Parler?
Why? That thing is like financially a sinking ship.
I thought Parler was gone. I thought it officially went away.
Here's
I
my
did.
thing. I get wanting, like, I get the idea, like, I'm gonna make a stand or I'm gonna, have a controversial business. But like, you want to try and make money? Like, how is he gonna make money off that? He's not gonna make money.
He won't. No. Truthfully, do any social media platforms make money besides Facebook and Instagram? I know Twitter hemorrhages
No,
money.
TikTok
It
makes
makes. Yeah, that's true. I know Twitter is like a dumpster fire, which is weird that
Really?
Elon wants to buy it. It hasn't made money in like a few years. Yeah.
Really? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes
No.
sense because I mean, well, I see promoted tweets and stuff though. Like they're
Well,
definitely selling things, right?
well, they spend money, but they don't bring it in. It's all just and Uber, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure I'll be corrected when I say this, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Uber has ever made money.
Mhm.
Like these startup companies like this, they'll just get ass loads of investors, and that's where the money comes from, and
Here
they
we
just
go.
never return on it.
In 2021, Twitter generated 4.5 billion from advertising, 570 million from data licensing. While Twitter generated 5 billion in total revenues, it lost 221 million. Okay, so it looks like at best it's like not doing as high. Like it doesn't seem like it's losing money.
Didn't you just say it was lost 220 some million?
Well, it made 5 billion and it lost 221. It looks like. It's interesting though if you look at I'm like trying to do like research on the fly a little bit, but oh, this website's called 4-Week MBA, so I don't know. I don't know how trusted that could be. Can you imagine
Matt,
getting your
Matt Rebar,
MBA It's called 4-week MBA. Imagine going to getting your MBA in 4 weeks. Like what? Like, oh my God.
Um, can you imagine like citing a source, Matt? Where did you get this information from? I went to goofyshoesoutthebox.org. You know?
Here's some fake news. Where'd you get that? At 4weekmba.com. Very legitimate.
Speaking of fake news, I was convinced that when Trump left office, he was going to start like a television station. I was convinced.
Does he?
And that doesn't
have
happen.
the money though. He doesn't have the money.
That's what I thought about. I was like, he probably doesn't have the funds to do it.
I think he's broke. I mean, maybe not like.
You remember
broke.
Remember From the Desk of Donald Trump? That thing.
No, wait. Which one was that? I can't keep up with
that. Was when he had only been out for a couple months, and it was essentially Twitter. But he was the only user. Like it was just him, and and what he was sneaky because he made it so like the things he put on From the Desk of Donald Trump you could share to a tweet, and so basically he was back on Twitter again. But it was like it was just trash, and the website was just ass, and it just didn't work.
It's really hard. I got to be honest with you, like. I'm the kind of person like I either laugh or I cry, and that whole like looking back at those years, like it's hard because like I want to cry and I want to laugh at the same time, just because of like how ridiculous it was. But like cry because I'm like that was the president. This was like our national administration. You know what I mean? Like it's such a.
I do miss the fake Trump tweets. Some of those were the best.
Oh my God.
What was the one where someone tweeted out from, it was like a fake one, but it just said anime is now illegal.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man, but social media land. Well, I'm happy that you're making money on it. That's pretty cool.
Long story made short, we just ripped into social media. Well, like I said, at the end of the day, I want to do what I want to do. The money is nice, little Starbucks money is all good, but it's not going to stop me from doing what I want to do. So,
and that's my goal too, because I feel like I don't want to be like an influencer or anything. I really don't. No. But I feel like we're both creative people. I just want that stuff to be out there. And it can just be frustrating constantly fighting the battle of social media, if you know what I'm saying. Like it can be a little exhausting, but I still think I'm never going to be one of those people who is like, it's ruining our culture, it's ruining our lives, it's going to be it's not. I think I like it. Yeah. It's annoying to fight. It's like this. Yeah. It's like a really annoying cousin you're friends with. Like you love them, but holy shit,
listen. At the end of the day, I'd rather waste 30 minutes on Twitter or Reddit or whatever than be back in like the 1700s where I had nothing to do except for like farming and praying. They didn't do shit back then. I mean, they literally like. Can you imagine trying to live in like the Salem witch trials era of life and just misery and terribleness?
Do you think if you gave a 1600s peasant a Dorito, he would just die immediately?
The flavor, so much flavor.
Like if you gave him, what if you just like gave him a warhead? Like here, suck on this for a second, and just they would probably think you're a witch.
You know what I had the other day that I do think would have killed like a pilgrim or something. I was at Sheetz and they had a candied apple milkshake. And it had like a gallon of caramel, a gallon of that candy apple red sauce, and like ice cream and whipped cream. It was probably like 3,000 calories in a glass. It was like my teeth were like they wanted to commit suicide in my mouth. That's how much sugar was just like pumped into my body. I think if I fed that to someone, like, I time traveled back and I was like, here you go. They would die. They would literally die. I mean, because they probably like what? Never had sugar. It wasn't like people in the 1600s had sugar, did they?
They had sugar.
I mean, sugar comes from sugar canes. Wasn't sugar canes in medieval Europe?
Yes, there was sugar since like ancient times.
Yeah, but not in like medieval Europe.
Oh, I'm sure it was there. But
I don't know about that. I feel like we're gonna get a listener who goes, actually, there was sugar in ancient Europe, and
that was me. I am that listener. Actually, there was. Actually. But were you up for them for like 14 days straight after that?
Can you imagine? Was there sugar in medieval Europe? I'm looking this up right now. I don't have time for this. Although sugar arrived, here we go. Although sugar arrived in Europe around 1100, it was not widely used until the 16th century. Until then, it was reserved for the rich people who used it to sweeten food and medicine.
So I was right. It was in the 1600s because 15th century is we
Okay.
said.
Well, still medieval. I said medieval. Medieval is like 1100 to 1600.
Oh,
So
now you're just moving the goalpost.
I am
That's all
not
you're
moving the
doing.
goalpost. I'm just saying. I said
Back up the
medieval
truck.
Europe.
Back up the truck. Beep.
Please,
Beep,
even the
beep,
1700s. You think some
beep.
like dowager of the farm was like, yes, I'll have some sugar in my pot of tea. No, she didn't have sugar. She barely had the tea.
Go to any century before the 18th century. Where would you go?
I would go to ancient Greece. I've always loved ancient Greece.
I'm probably going to like first level Neanderthal man kind of thing. I want to be like the thing, be like, yo, this is how we grow corn. Like that's what I want to be.
Are you gonna find out what exactly happened to the Neanderthals? Because we really don't know.
I thought they just kind of. How do we not know what happened to Neanderthals? I thought they just kind of morphed.
They just died off. I mean, there's some like evidence
Didn't
that
they
maybe there was
evolve?
like a war, there was like genocide, there was I don't know.
We go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole of Neanderthals.
This whole episode is like, how are you? Let's talk about digital media, and then it's Pat, Paul, and Matt say a bunch of ridiculous stuff that they're not even verifying, just fake news. Let's see. How did the Neanderthals go?
I thought they just evolved.
It looks like the hypothesis is that Neanderthals encountered several interglacials and that their inability to adapt their hunting methods caused them extinction when Europe changed into a sparsely vegetated steppe and semi-desert. Huh. I guess they just weren't smart enough. Survival of the fittest, girl. You know what Darwin said? And Darwin married his cousin. You know he's smart. You know he has it.
What is with you? What are you on tonight, man? You're just all sorts of riled up tonight, aren't you?
I'm an orange juice. All right.
But,
well, I think we probably better call it quits before people unsubscribe.
Sounds good.
I feel like we've already upset our French listeners. We've already upset our Neanderthal listeners tonight.
The Italian ones too. You probably pissed off.
Yes. Okay, that's nothing. That's a nothing.
And we talked about Mark Zuckerberg way too much for this to ever go viral on Facebook. So
I know Mark Zuckerberg is probably going to hear this podcast and be like, banned from Meta. All right. Well, hey, we don't know when we'll be back. It could be next week, could be in the new year. So let's just be safe and wish you all a happy holiday. Have a happy holiday if we don't see you.
Later.
Oh, goodbye.